Are you self-sabotaging your greatness? We're going to be talking about this Leo solar eclipse happening on August 12th, around 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to be diving into this energy, understanding what is coming up, how this is the starting point, the spark that is about to ignite the Leo and Aquarius polarity and these north and south node activation points. I have a full video talking about what that looks like. You can check it out on my channel. Welcome if you're new. I'm Izzy. I go by 8th house, not 8th house Mercury here. Wow, we were in the flow state. I go by Estremia here. You may know me from 8th house Mercury. Am I going to cut that out? No, because I've been procrastinating making this video, which is why I started it the way that I started it. Now, take a moment, maybe save this for a time when you're actually able to really listen and be present with the information that I'm going to give you. Because for those of you who are not new here, you know me. And for those of you who are new, welcome, right? I am deeply honest with the astrology. I'm not here to sugarcoat things. I'm here to open and expose the invitation that is here, even if that comes through tension, if that comes through irritation, if that comes through conflict, right? Those are all pieces that can surface during moments like a solar eclipse. So grab a snack. Let me know what you are drinking, snacking on, how you're feeling. Okay. This energy is palpable. I'm going to be so honest. I'm probably going to have to take moments between filming this, like just moments to breathe, to settle in. And it's also why it's taken me a while to film this. Like I literally had the top portion of my notes here written for the last 2 weeks, and I hadn't added anything else or anything more. Ignore me. I'm adjusting my septum. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Other people are like, "Who is this lady?" It's fine. It's fine. Um Yeah, the potency and the buildup of this eclipse portal that we're about to enter, again, it starts August 12th and will last until the 27th. Yes, I will have another video talking about our lunar eclipse in Pisces. That's going to be on the 27th. And for those of you unaware, I am hosting an eclipse portal because between these two eclipses is going to be a potent time for timeline jumping, for new doors opening, doors closing. Like it's like a massive shift that's about to be integrated over the next 6 months. So if you feel that desire, there's limited seats. Okay. I said all the things. Let's talk about this eclipse. So to understand eclipses, I really want you to like settle into the visceral the visceral feeling of your ancestors, of what it would be like to experience a solar eclipse thousands of years ago. So a solar eclipse is when the moon moves in front of the sun. Okay. And then if we break this down at the archetypal level, the sun is our egoic expression and the moon is our unconscious patterns. So these two are coming together in exact alignment, right? So where they eclipse each other and creates a shadow. Of course, it's going to be on a specific line on the earth. It's not going to be seen everywhere, but energetically, it's ominous. Suddenly you're going about your day, walking around the village, you're harvesting things, and then you're surrounded by complete darkness. The animals go quiet. Things get, and a full body chills. It's weird. It's weird. Wow, I didn't expect my body to have such a visceral response to sharing that, but it's strange. So just think of the primal aspect of the response to an eclipse. It's intense. It usually was a sign of bad omens, of big things happening, and this applies with with what is happening now. So let's break it down a bit deeper. This solar eclipse is happening in the sign of Leo. The sun is at home in the sign of Leo. It's rulership, and then we have the moon crossing over the sun. So some of the deeper visuals that have been coming in as I've been sitting with this energy, as I talked about it in the live stream yesterday, is think of the dark side of the moon. Now I'm thinking of like Pink Floyd. The sun is completely shining on that side. And so think of that about your unconscious patterns. It's almost like there's an exposure to parts of you that you haven't looked at. And I just felt like a pang in my heart. And Leo's all about the heart. That solar plexus, like that confidence center. I'm seeing like the sun here, okay? This is a moment of, the key word feels like exposure to the dark crevices within your ego. And what I want to start inviting you guys into understanding about this eclipse is it is bringing to light where you have subscribed to egoic expressions that aren't yours anymore, that are no longer in alignment with the quality of person you desire to be. So a lot of things that have been coming through intuitively about this, and for those of you who are new, a lot of my intuition and astrology, they work hand in hand. It's just the new operating system that is me. And I've been seeing just like artificial light, right? Where, it's making me think of like hydroponics or like growing plants indoors with like artificial light. And it's like, yes, they're still good, but does it have the like nutrients and the like magic that comes from the sun? We spend all day inside and only get to experience the sun in certain moments unless we're working outside, right? There's something about like how we've gotten so used to taking in artificial energy. I'm saying like stimulants, okay? And it's not the natural resources. And where maybe who you are has been built off of artificial expressions of light. For example, celebrities. We could go deeper down that thread. I would just watch my nodal shift video of like the exposure of false fame, false flames is happening here. And so, of course, as always in these videos, I like to draw it back to your own personal narrative within this, because what's happening in the external collective is a reflection of the internal. Okay. And so this solar eclipse is about to expose parts of you that you've neglected and haven't looked at in a long time. And Leo is all about our courage, our confidence, and at the deeper level, our inner child. This to me is a return to innocence. This is seeing where innocence has been exploited to a certain level. Okay? Where are you perpetuating that wound within you? Okay, I'm going to share a personal example. I was laying on the couch. I had the dopamine hit. I had the thing. I was like, I gotta watch the things. And I was like, what the heck is happening? I was like, actually, the thing I love doing is sitting here and talking to you guys about the astrology and sharing my wisdom that I've cultivated through lived experience and over a decade of study. And like all these other things that I've cultivated to make it so I can do this. This is what I love to do. And it's that self-sabotage, right? That's me, exploiting my innocent energy where it's like, oh, here, let me just give you like an iPad instead of like doing the things you enjoy doing, like going outside and playing or dancing or engaging in, play. There's this innocence, this return to innocence, and not letting things hook your attention that you no longer want to subscribe to. I'm seeing a lot of unsubscribing to emails that's popping up here. So let's go a bit deeper into this energy, because there's so much here happening with this solar eclipse. So there is going to be this exposure of like, oh, this is where I've been betraying myself. And you may not know it until this moment. And we're going to be using the next year and a half to really understand, how can I choose the most authentic version of my light? And of course, look at where Leo is at within your natal chart. If you're interested, I'll be writing about this in my newsletter. I'll be sending out a solar eclipse breakdown and writing about your rising signs, so you know how this is moving for you. You could also join the inner circle. You get access to my newsletter with joining that. So that's how I feel right now. That, like, this energy has me so amped up. I have a headache. You may be feeling the like buildup of this eclipse. Some of the channeling I did this morning feels very akin to what this eclipse is doing. So feel free to check that out as well. So this solar eclipse is ruled by Mars. It's in the third decan of Leo. That 20-degree point is the third decan. And Mars just moved into Cancer the day before. And this brings up interesting quality to it. And you can hear the hesitation in my voice because I can see this really amplifying people's emotions and emotional responses. And we'll put up the chart here to the side. We see the solar eclipse. And if you see me I'm looking at the chart. Solar eclipse 20 degrees. We have Mars at 0 degrees of Cancer. Mars is making a loose T-square to Venus and Neptune. Yeah. Fun. So let's talk about Mars being the rulership here. And I wrote about this in my newsletter. But this Mars shift, I want to invite you guys into reflecting on what July was like for you. Because of the fact that Mercury was retrograde in Cancer, really exposing and bringing deeper knowledge and observation to some stagnant emotional pieces. And now Mars is coming in with some vengeance of like, yeah, fuck no, not tolerating that. This stirred up my emotions. And Cancer energy can be very volatile. When we look at the archetype of Cancer, it's got a shell and it's got pinchers, right? When we look at the like primal aspect of a crab, it doesn't want people to take advantage of its tender insides. So you may have had things exposed during this Mercury retrograde that Mars is about to say, yeah, I'm seeing my sword back there. Let me just handle this for you. So I'm erring you guys on the side of caution of the fact that your emotions are going to be activated at this time. And that's not bad, especially for the collective that I'm talking to. A good chunk of you suppress your emotions. A good chunk of you don't actually express how you're feeling and the things that piss you off. And that might be the true return to innocence of like you authentically expressing your anger, your feelings, right? The raw, like, I'm done. Or like, I deserve to be seen as this thing. Okay? Oh, I'm getting heated. I love when the channeling comes in this way where it's like the actual embodiment of this energy. So Mars in Cancer, it defends innocence big time, right? That Cancerian energy, it's maternal. And with Mars here, it's like, I'm going to do what I'm seeing like a mom and like the thing about female animals, when they fight to the death because that's their innate response. It's kill or be killed. That's how animals operate. And so this Mars in Cancer can get really heated, especially when we're believing the emotional story. And that's where I invite deeper inquiry at this time as much as you can. It's not to say to bypass your feelings by going too far up in your head, but if you're angry, kick and scream and yell. Is it going to do you justice to share it with a person who's on the receiving end of that? I don't know. I don't have that answer for you. Only you can determine the quality of that expression, right? And so how this leads into the solar eclipse is really like maybe there's a part of you that's pissed off that you've been too careless with how you share yourself in the world. Maybe you've been too available. Maybe you've let your light be, again, exploited. Maybe you've been the one exploiting your light and letting everybody have a slice of your cake. And then it comes time for you to get a slice of the cake and it's gone. And your inner child's like, what the heck? Right? And that makes me so sad because it's like, there's a, the adult part of you that's like, I want to be caring. I want to give. And then there's the like, where are you making sure that like you're appreciating what you have to offer too, right? And that brings in those edges of balance. I'm looking at my notes here. With this T-square, Venus and Neptune with this opposition are really like inviting in a cultivation of, and Venus is trine Uranus at this time too. I wrote about it on my newsletter, which brings in this deeper supportive activation of like vulnerably sharing yourself to a certain degree. But this loose T-square to Mars, it's activating Mars in this way that's like Venus and Neptune kind of have this interesting dichotomy happening because Neptune's all about unconditional love and the choice to love self unconditionally is the way to heal the planet. I've talked about that many a times. And then Venus in Libra kind of wants to perform a bit, wants to be liked. And so the pressure point that releases this T-square is that Capricorn energy. And I'm going to point us back to Cancer season and Mercury retrograde in Cancer, where I've shared that. I said Capricorn's going to be our savior at this time, like to hone in on that Capricornian energy and understand, how can I build from what is being presented right now? Yeah, I might need to cry. Yeah, I might need to, express my feelings to this person. Good, bad, ugly, beautiful, right? Whatever it may be, expressing. But where do I go from here? What can I build from this, right? What's the long-term vision? Is it fruitful for me to cuss somebody out? No. What is that deeper need underneath? That's what this solar eclipse is exposing, is like, yeah, we've got these surface level, like I'm seeing like the tip of the iceberg. And it's like, where have you been building all of this energy up for it to be exposed? Okay. I'm so heated. I love it. This third decan is ruled by the Seven of Wands. This guy. And I'm using this card specifically instead of grabbing the Rider-Waite because take a peek at that. That is so Leo energy. Okay. And so the Seven of Wands basically brings up igniting spiritual courage. We see this guy with this ring of fire around him and he's defending his territory. The lesson of the Seven of Wands is having the confidence to stand in your truth, in your integrity, courage, and honor, right? Especially in uncertain times, especially when everything in you wants to back down or crumple, right? The Seven of Wands brings in conflict. Traditionally, it brings in those edges of conflict to challenge your truth and your life force energy, that Leo energy. It's like, I heard like, you've talked the talk, but can you walk the walk? And that's really what this solar eclipse is exposing. And some people, right? And to bring it into like a larger societal scale, it's like some people who have a large platform might be crumbling at this time, meaning like they've presented a big version of themselves, but they don't actually have the inner blueprint to actually hold that for a long term. It's kind of the idea of winning the lottery. Like if you've known poverty your whole life and you win the lottery, you don't have the nervous system to hold it. So it goes, right? That's been statistically proven as to something that has happened in that realm. So when this comes to your life force energy, there's like I just saw a check engine light just pop up in my mind. That's what the solar eclipse is a check engine light where you're seeing where maybe you've run yourself ragged and it's just time to have a pit stop, and look under at your operating system, and maybe you need premium quality oil. You know, maybe you've been using something else, right? And that's funny because I literally needed an oil change. And you know what? I'm going to share that. That feels very relevant. I went in to AutoZone and I had the list of what I needed and what I wanted, what oil. I wasn't going to run around the store to go find it. I was just going to inquire and have the people up front help me, because that's an edge, asking for help. And first, the first person I interacted with was this young lady who had no idea what I was asking about. And in which I said, "Hey, like, what do you need from me for you to get what I want? Like, how can I help you help me?" And she wasn't able to. And then eventually, you know, somebody else came up and he was able to help me, but I wanted a specific oil. And he was like, "Well, like, what's your car got?" And I was like, or like, "How many miles?" And I was like, "It's a lot." And so he's like, "Oh, you want this?" And I was like, whatever, he knows more than me, right? I put him on this pedestal because of his job, because of his title. Lo and behold, the oil I get, I bring it to the person who's going to be changing my oil. And he said, like, "Is this high mileage?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, I've done a lot of research, and high mileage has additives in it. That's not good. Like, it's not the best. It's not going to hurt your engine, but it's not the best. And this comes all the way back full circle. I love tangible experiences to bring into the astrology and like how that relates to like you and your engine, your heart, your heart. So this solar eclipse, there's a lot of like tension here of like holding the line, what is true to you. And it's just exposing where your true light is. Another thread that I want to bring in is the Sabian symbol for the 20 degrees of Leo, which is intoxicated chickens dizzily flap their wings trying to fly. This can bring like a loss of reality, not being in touch with what's realistically possible or worth trying. So there's sort of this edge of like needing to be radically honest with yourself, and especially with this exposure of like this part of you. Like, I'm literally seeing like you're like finding the darkest crevice within you and finding like a hidden part of you, and you're like, "Oh, there you are." And it's like like I like hasn't had human interaction, hasn't it's been so suppressed for so long, it doesn't feel safe. The next year and a half is about cultivating that safety. So don't grab it and bring it to the world and be like, "Look at this thing I've just found within me. I've had this light all along." That is traumatizing. And maybe that's what happened to you, is somebody took you and put you on stage and now you're petrified of being seen. So there's a reverence here of like, you don't need to do too much too soon. Watch what you're bringing to your plate and just know your limits. Know your limits here, okay? This is like, you know, attempting to do too much, too soon. A lot of messages that have been coming in collective threads I've been reading into relating to this astrology is like trying to force a flower to bloom. You need to give yourself time. Capricorn energy. Again, I'm like, Capricorn is our anchor at this time, okay? So, you know, there's a bit of like, some people, you know, and I don't feel it's this collective, but some people may get caught up in the glitz and the glamour of having attention on them at this time of like, whoa, wow, and just like get spun out in that reality. An overindulgence in this false light and then feel like crap the next day. It's like when you know, overindulge in anything, whether it's a pan of brownies or a line of shots, right? You don't feel good. And this is like really tending to the quality of light that you wish to share to the world, to give back to the collective, North Node in Aquarius, okay? I feel I've shared my depth here with this, and I'm excited to dive into this solar eclipse specifically with my inner circle as we dive into the eclipse portal. Like, for those of you who are watching, which you guys always get first access to this content, you always get first dibs. I'm excited, and I'm really wanting us to explore what is being exposed and get to know it so that we can hold it in reverence and not taint it, harm it, corrupt it, right? To have that reverence that we've always should have had given to us, that we get to reclaim now and give to ourselves. Okay. I love you guys. Again, thank you for supporting me here, watching the full videos, liking, subscribing. Feel free to turn on notifications. I post videos for every new and full moons, as well as go live every Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on my 8th House Mercury account, talking about the astro forecast that gets re-uploaded here. Subscribe to my newsletter. You get emails from me every Monday as well. I love you guys. Good luck. I'm excited to see you on the other side with the upcoming lunar eclipse, closing out the Virgo and Pisces axis. All right. See you guys.
Thank you.